federal judge orders the documents of Jeffrey Epstein's associates to be unsealed. About 180 members or associates of Jeffrey Epstein's list, the Lolita Express, what they call it, the people on the flight log, are going to be unsealed. Now, we've gone through this before. One judge who tried to do that a couple of years ago, her family was attacked after this judge had actually wanted to unseal the document. So this is nothing new in terms of people wanting to do it. This is supposed to happen on January 2nd. This judge her name is Loretta Prescott, new judge for Southern District of New York. Her explaining her reasoning. People need to know the truth. Is it a nothing burger, Jacob, in your eyes, or is there something here that we should watch out for? Because this is probably one of the biggest cases, bringing in so many people from so many different countries, so many different levels of government that supposedly are on this list, but it's hard to know because it's been so hidden by the four-letter agencies.
There were consequences in Britain for Prince Andrew. Bill Clinton, because of the Lewinsky scandal, it was just more of the same. The powers that be, the real powers that be that have been associated with Epstein, they're going to be immune. The left-wing media, the mainstream media, social media are going to protect them. It'll be a storm in a teacup, most likely. The media doesn't care about truth. The society has become so morally debased, they expect their leaders to be immoral people. It'll be a storm in a teacup. What happened to Prince Andrew? Well, he lost some royal titles and positions, but he's still Prince Andrew. He was never brought to any kind of judicial account. Either was Bill Clinton. This the Secret Service detail to get on that plane and go down to that island. What happened? Nothing. What's going to happen? Well, nothing's going to happen. It's not a nothing burger. It's going to be a burger, but people aren't going to want to eat it. People won't have an appetite for it because the mainstream media is not going to put it on the menu.
No, I wonder if it's going to be one of those Bill Gates burgers. What are those called, Jay? Those burgers he likes to make. I forget what they're called.
Impossible burgers.
Impossible burgers. It's just an impossible meat burger that, the Bill Gates, which supposedly he's on the thing too. I mean, allegedly he's very, very good friends, very interesting pictures and all that stuff. So it may be an impossible burger that we might get on that January 2nd. But nonetheless, all kidding aside, Jacob, we've heard for so many years that just the rottenness of world governments, of DC, of European unions, and the WEF, the perverts in the WEF, and the Davos, and the devils in Davos, and all the sex tapes and all the stuff that has happened. But there's one thing that we can't deny. In the Senate of the United States, not just sex tapes, gay sex tapes.
Yes.
By a staffer caught himself filming a gay porno in the hearing room in the Senate. I mean, okay, I am not shocked, but I'm grossed out. Put it that way. I'm not shocked because I understand these things happen behind the scenes for many years in DC. But Jacob, did this surprise you? Did this shock you in any way?
No. Look, Bill Clinton used the Oval Office as a boudoir to perform unnatural acts.
Yes.
With a troubled young woman the age of his daughter. And what he did was not even natural. Bill Clinton was a sexual deviant.
Yes.
And the mainstream media played it down. He was protected during the impeachment, even though he lied. He was disbarred. He was disbarred as a lawyer for perjury. What impact has it had upon his standing within the Democratic Party? Nothing.
No, they applaud him. They applaud him.
That's what it is. I would go back to a teaching we did in the 1990s and a teaching we did on location in Rome. It was filmed in Rome. And we went around to the Palatina, the Capitolina, the Colosseum, the Maritima prison where Paul was, and things like this. And we taught on location, but we also did it before that in lecture theaters, that the political as well as cultural environment of the first century church, the Greco-Roman world, was going to come back. That's what Western society was going to become. During the reign of emperors like Caligula, where you had widespread sexual perversion in the Senate among the aristocracy, where you had things imported from Greece into Rome, where violence was entertainment with the gladiators and things of that nature, and where you had an acceptance of pansexuality. Today we call it LGBTQ plus I or whatever it is. That is exactly what you had in the first century. When you read about Claudius, who was a homosexual emperor, or his nephew Caligula, these people were unbelievably perverted. They were unbelievably perverted. Again, another thing was pedophilia, bestiality.
Yeah.
The most depraved, sick things you can think of was the cultural environment of the first century Greco-Roman world that the early church was in. Paul deals with some of these things in the epistles to the Romans, but it permeated not only the social fabric, but got into the highest strata of society in imperial Rome, right up to the emperor and the Senate. Okay. This, however, is the New Testament version. You have the Babylonian, the Tower of Babel, and the Canaanite equivalents in the Old Testament. When you read the Torah, when God told the Jews through Moses, the Hebrew, the Israelites, don't do these things that the nations I'm going to drive out before you were doing.
That's right. The Amorites and all that. Yeah.
It was perversion. It was every kind of sexual deviancy and perversion you can think of. It was human sacrifice.
Yeah.
You just kill the babies. If you want to know what's happening, what's going to happen, read the Torah. Read the book of Joshua. Read the epistle to the Romans. Read the epistle to the Corinthians. The way it was is the way it's becoming, and it's going to be that way. It's going to follow the same pattern that we have in biblical history.